Tinubu orders armed forces orders to end insecurity decisively and without delay. Tinubu working remotely from overseas returns after Easter, says Presidency. I wanted outright removal of Fubara, but Tinubu saved him, says Wike. Human trafficking, 3 more girls rescued from Ghana. Electricity crisis, government offers national grid to investors. McBan seeks presidential order on protection of pastoralist communities. Summary of the news. Tinubu orders armed forces orders to end insecurity decisively and without delay. President Bola Tinubu, in his Easter message from France, addressed the recent rise in violence and insecurity in Nigeria. He expressed deep sorrow over the tragic loss of lives and assured citizens of his administration's firm commitment to restoring peace. Tinubu stated he has given clear order to security agencies to act decisively and urgently against insecurity, claiming progress is being made. He acknowledged the country's economic challenges and emphasized efforts to stabilize the economy and promote inclusive growth. The president urged Nigerians to remain united, hopeful, and resilient, stressing that national unity is key to overcoming the country's challenges. Tinubu working remotely from overseas returns after Easter, says Presidency. President Bola Tinubu has been outside Nigeria for nearly 2 weeks, but continues to oversee state affairs from Europe, according to the Presidency. He is expected to return to Abuja on Monday, April 21, after the Easter holidays. His special advisor, Bayo Onanuga, stated that Tinubu remains actively engaged in governance, in constant communication with officials, and has issued directives to security chiefs to address emergency threats. The statement reassured the public that governance remains uninterrupted and the aim to counter criticism from opposition figures, including Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi, who questioned Tinubu's absence amid rising insecurity in the country. The Presidency did not disclose the purpose of his visit to Paris and London, but framed it as part of ongoing working visits. I wanted outright removal of Fubara, but Tinubu saved him, says Wike. Nyesom Wike, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, revealed he wanted Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State removed entirely. Speaking in Abuja, Wike said President Bola Tinubu's declaration of his state of emergency in Rivers, which included suspending the governor, his deputy, and the state lawmakers, ultimately saved Fubara from being ousted. Wike expressed disappointment that Fubara has not reached out to him to resolve their differences and questioned the governor's unwillingness to engage in dialogue. He praised Tinubu's intervention for preventing further crises, noting that retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas was appointed to oversee the state for 6 months. Human trafficking, 3 more girls rescued from Ghana. 3 Nigerian girls trafficked to Ghana have been rescued and returned home, bringing the total number of repatriated victims to about 200, according to Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa, chairman of Nigerians in Diaspora Commission (NITCOM). The girls, aged 17 to 19 from Bayelsa and Ebonyi states, were lured by their aunties with false job promises, but ended up in sex trafficking. After arriving at NITCOM's Lagos office, they were handed over to NAPTIP for proper care and reintegration. Dabiri Erewa emphasized the need to expose and shame traffickers to curb the crime and thank partners like NIDO Ghana, the Nigerian High Commission in Ghana, and the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu for their roles in the rescue. She also personally covered the girls' accommodation and traveled back to their home states. Electricity crisis. Government offers national grid to investors. Privatization of national grid. The federal government is unbundling and offering the national grid for privatization due to its frequent collapses and outdated infrastructure. Private investors are being invited to finance and operate parts of the grid. Electricity access and metering. About 80 million Nigerians lack electricity access. There is a 7 million meter shortfall, and the government aims to close this gap through the Presidential Metering Initiative, targeting 11.1 million meters in 5 years. Local meter production is limited. Most meters are assembled from imported parts. Debt and tariff issues. The government owes 4 trillion naira to power generation companies Gencos and plans to pay 2 trillion naira this year. Electricity tariffs are not cost reflective, especially in band B to E, where 85% is subsidized. Transmission network. The transmission grid spans over 18,000 kilometers and includes over 250 substations and a capacity of nearly 35,000 MVA. Generations peaked at 6,003 megawatts last month, with 5,801 megawatts evacuated. Investor participation. Private sector involvement is encouraged in building new lines, substations and transformers with returns from DISCOs and GENCOs. The Nigerian Independent System Operator NISO will support this model. In short, the government is pushing for privatization, improved metering and increased investment to address long-standing inefficiencies in Nigeria's power sector. MACBAN seeks presidential order on protection of pastoralist communities. Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria (MACBAN) has appealed for a presidential directive to security agencies to ensure effective security for pastoralist communities across the country. The National Secretary General of MACBAN, Bello Gotumo, made this appeal in a statement on Friday in Abuja. He also called on the federal government to end all forms of alleged discriminatory practice against pastoralists in the country. The Nigerian government must ensure accountability, justice and protection for all citizens regardless of ethnicity. He decried the alleged unlawful arrests, inhuman treatment and profiling of some pastoralists at Opere Market in Kaba local government of Kogi State. Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria calls on the federal government, the National Human Rights Commission and the international community to urgently intervene. Follow for more. April 18, 2025.